Internal terrorism is a term that I've come up with to refer to workplace violence and hostility. Workplace violence and hostility used to be really the big issue back in the 90s. Then after 9/11, what we found was we moved off to international terrorism and worrying about that, and yet workplace violence and hostility continues. Now here's the good news. Workplace homicides have dropped by over 30% in the last 10 or 15 years. Here's the not so good news. Conflict, intimidation, bullying, and harassment has been on the increase. So that's why I call it internal terrorism, because that kind of intimidation, bullying, is really no different than when we talk about geopolitical terrorism, trying to force people to do what you want to do in a really nasty way. And it's happening more and more, especially as the economy starts to grind on our workers. We're finding it's more stressful. People are working lean and mean. There's fewer people. There's more stress. People are really feeling it. So we're predicting and we're starting to see that there's more hostility and violence. I use those two terms interchangeably. Hostility is me just being nasty to you. I could be yelling, screaming, intimidating, bullying you. Violence is when I get physical with you. And we're still starting to see it percolate as we've really worked people. So I absolutely think that it should be a part of any business contingency planning, because we're planning for hurricanes, we're planning for disasters, we're planning for geopolitical terrorism. Those things may happen, but the likelihood or the percentage of them happening is much less than what I refer to as the internal terrorism, where there will be hostility, intimidation, bullying, and hopefully not violence between co-workers. For example, in the 90s, the United States estimated that $120 billion a year was spent on workplace violence and hostility. Ka-ching, ka-ching, that's a lot of money. That was in 1995 dollars, so you can imagine what it's going to be like now as we approach 2012, 2013, and as the economy continues to grind. Absolutely, a hazard vulnerability assessment, a BIA, whatever we're calling it, should include workplace hostility and violence, which is also why I strongly believe that human resource personnel should be included as part of any contingency planning team.